Djurgarden Football Club 1, Mighty Chelsea 4. Welcome back to the Chelsea Godfather channel, guys. 4-1 Chelsea away in Sweden versus Djurgarden FC of Sweden. Yeah, I mean, it obviously looks like we have one foot in the finals. As it's looking right now, it looks like our opponent is most likely going to be Real Betis, unless Fiorentina makes a comeback in the second leg. But at least they get to go home to see if they can claw back today's loss and see if they can find a way to get themselves to the final. But let me not get ahead of myself. It's still just the first leg. Yeah, I mean, we won 4-1, and again, the game pretty much went the way that we would have liked it to have gone. That Maresca would have loved it to have gone. Apart from the fact that we did concede a very soft goal in the second half. Apart from that, it was pretty much in terms of results, right? Right. I mean, we won by 3 goals by a 3-goal margin away from home, just like we did in the quarterfinals. And it's just a matter of bringing the second leg back to the bridge to just manage out the remaining 90 minutes of this fixture and book out our ticket to the finals. So yeah, I mean, again, this game pretty much, again, as I mentioned, went the way that I was hoping that it would go, and I had somehow expected, at least with regards to the fact that the Djurgarden fans were going to be on their feet. You guys already know, whenever you play in Europe, the European fans are feisty, right? When we talk about Europe, we're talking about games outside England, and fans outside England are more feisty, are more festive. They're more into supporting their team through thick and thin than British fans in general. And the smaller the team, the more sort of supportive their fan base is in Europe. So that was somehow my in a way, that was kind of my number one concern in terms of would these guys get an extra, because you just never know. Right, on paper, right, £1 billion team, 1 billion, as the whoever was to ask the question to Maresca, 1 billion versus £50 million. I mean, right, on paper there's no contest, but we know that anything can happen in a game of football. If you watch this game long enough, you'll be, you must have grown at least attained some level of, wisdom to know that you never overlook any opponent, no matter whether they're even in non-league. Because on any given day, if you showed up and you weren't ready to play, that's how a non-league team or a League 2 team, level team, will just come and beat you. And we saw that, like we know, right? We just saw that in the previous round. Like, we went away 1-3-0, barely broke a sweat, and they came to our house at their bridge and beat us 2-1. They are a team from Poland, Legia. Legia came to Legia. This is a club we never heard of before in our life. Came to the bridge and beat us 3-1. Sorry, and beat us 2-1. So again, that's all I'm saying is, listen, we've done our job, but the job is not yet done. And I'm glad that's what Jackson and I saw a comments that he made that listen, that we don't have any leg in the final, that we still need to finish up the job at the bridge. But just to talk about the game real quickly. Djurgarden FC in France, them obviously backed by by the crowd, the energy, the feeding off the energy of the crowd. They came out at our guys. They pressed us high and they pressed us often high, and then they did not sit back in a low block, which is what you would normally expect. They came out to play their game, and they played their game early and often, and in fact, it took us at least a good 10 minutes, which for Chelsea, that's a long time. A good 10 minutes for us to begin to sort of gain a foothold in the game. But once we took over control of the game through James in midfield, through Cucurella inverting into midfield, right? I mean, Maresca ball that that people hate. I mean, once with Maresca with Cucurella inverting into midfield and providing James extra support, and then Enzo even sort of dropped a little bit deeper into midfield. That was pretty much a wrap in terms of midfield control. We took over the control on the midfield, and Djurgarden FC didn't have a sniff of the ball pretty much for the rest of the half, and so it was just a matter of time before Enzo Fernandez was able to masterfully find Jadon Sancho with a very beautiful pass, a beautiful cross, like a crossfield pass that looked like it was an elementary pass. But I mean, no other player in Chelsea could make that exact same pass, because we had that pass open multiple times in this game, but especially in the second half, and nobody could execute that pass. But Enzo makes it look like it's an easy pass. He makes it look. He looked up, saw him, boom, and just laid the ball on Jadon's foot. Jadon didn't have much work to do. Just pick his corner. The defender came, tried to save the goal. The ball had already gone past the goalie. He was already beat. So the defender tried to save the goal, but he cleared the ball into his own net. 1-0 Chelsea were off and running. And it was just a matter of, okay, can we make this thing 2-0? I believe it was Noni that Reece James had a lovely, scoop pass in the first half and set Noni free one-on-one with that goalie. It should have been a brilliant goal, a brilliant assist by James. But Noni, I don't know what he did. He basically couldn't make up his mind on how he wanted to score. I credit to him, he actually got his shot off, but the goalie saved his shot. But the goalie never should have had any chance to save his shot, because that should have been a clean goal. But in any event, Noni came back and redeemed himself. Again, this time Enzo again was able to find him, and he masterfully looked up. Noni likes to do these things. He just looked off the goal. The goalie looked, that way, and he sent the ball to the goalie's, wrong path, and it was 2-0 halftime, pretty much game over. And so, Maresca then emptied the bench at halftime, brought on Palmer, brought on James, brought on Caicedo, and brought on Trevor, right? And he removed Enzo, removed James, right? Removed Cucurella and Noni. And so it was just a matter of, okay, Palmer, you're gonna score. You're gonna score, Palmer. Is today gonna be your day? Because Jackson had already scored against Everton. He had a brilliant goal against Everton at home. So we already know that Jackson is back in business. And of course, he confirmed that he is back in business by scoring 2 wonderful goals today. Of course, one was a gift by the goalie, but his second goal, taking nothing away from Jackson, was a brilliant finish, I believe, with his weaker left foot. So Jackson is now brimming with confidence. He is back. He scored 3 goals. He scored 3 goals in his last 2 games. He is officially back. But Palmer, guy, come on now. You were through on goal. You were through on, I believe, who was it? Was it Caicedo that released Palmer with a sweet through pass? 1-on-1. Palmer, before Palmer would have just, because the ball really was set up for a right-footed shot. In other words, trap it with your left foot and swing it with your right. And the goalie was already basically beat. The goalie was going to be beat either way. The goalie came out, he was in no man's land. Palmer from earlier this season would have scored that goal with his right foot easily. And it wouldn't have even been news. But today's Palmer doesn't know how to shoot again. I don't know. Guys, how do you all feel? What can be done to restore Cole Palmer and bring him back to life? He's the only one that hasn't yet woken up from his sleep, because we need Palmer. We need Palmer because Brentford did us a massive favor today. Massive favor. They went away and beat Nottingham Forest 2-0. So we are right now in 5th place, just 1 point behind City. So we're in very good shape for Champions League. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. We're in very good shape for Champions League qualification. All we have to do is Liverpool on Sunday. Hopefully Liverpool is somehow not fully cleared since they won the league. Mentally they've been drinking champagne, dancing, and clubbing. And we hope that our boys are able to come out, fly, and hit them early and often, so they can just calm down and realize that there's nothing in this game for them. There's no need for them to risk injury or anything, because their season is basically over, right? So Palmer, we need you, brother. We need you back. I beg, please. That's all I have, guys. How do you all feel? Like my video, share, subscribe. God bless you guys. Peace.